All right, y'all, we are here before the show because I have multiple giant pieces of breaking news that I have to give you. The show was already full, so I had to hop out here beforehand to break down this super important stuff for you. So first of all, I think you know where I'm going with this. We have the Jeffrey Epstein birthday book that came out in its totality, and boy, oh boy, is it damning. It is more damning than I thought possible because very clearly, and you can see this in the book, everybody who was friends with Jeffrey knew exactly what was going on, and they were making inside jokes about it. So they understood very well who Jeffrey was, what he took part in, let's say, if I'm trying to sanitize it as much as possible. And they were all totally fine with it and playing along with it and making inside jokes. And the other thing you see in this book is many very, overtly sexual things that are written down and people attach their names to it. So it is wild. So I'm going to walk you through a bunch of this stuff here. Yesterday we discussed the full Trump letter leaked, and that was incredibly creepy. We did a breaking news segment on it yesterday, but now everybody's had time to go through more of the book, and the more you look, the worse it gets. So let's start with this one. I'm going to just give you a little taste here. So here's what one of the people wrote to Jeffrey Epstein. Dearest Jeff, 50 years old. You really have had a pretty amazing life. Amazing because of where and when it started. Okay, so far, so good, right? Paula and Seymour fucking. Who was there to tell him where to stick it? Who told him to spit on her cunt to make it wet? Maybe they had more on the ball than we all give them credit for. What? Who writes something like this in a 50-year-old birthday book? You know, funny enough, and I swear this is true, you can go, read the whole thing yourself and find out. One of the only messages that is not incredibly creepy or overtly sexual is the Bill Clinton message to him. Insane. Now, we already know that guy's a creeper, but the fact that that's one of the only messages that's not creepy or overtly sexual is wild. By the way, another huge piece of news that this is going to get buried. People are not going to talk about this, but it's actually super important. There's 8 business titans in this book that wish Jeffrey Epstein a happy birthday. 8 business titans. So, as George Carlin said, it's a big club, and you ain't in it. And in this club also happens to be a child trafficking ring as well. And so when we said Jeffrey Epstein is Mossad and he has a tremendous amount of dirt on celebrities and business people and politicians in the U.S., we meant it. And if anything, this book helps to validate that. All right, more. So these are some of the pictures that are in the book. Here's Jeffrey Epstein looking young, like maybe it's in the early 70s or something like that. And he's wearing his little tidy whities with his other friends wearing their tidy whities. And then I guess did they try to retake the picture? Or are these different people? I don't know, but here's them older, standing around in their underwear. Do I understand what's going on here? No, I don't. Here's a picture from Ghislaine Maxwell saying, happy birthday, Jeff, and she's topless, and it looks like they might both be naked and engaged in some inappropriate activities to post in a fucking 50th birthday book. This one is a huge deal, bro, and people are talking about this one. So this is Donald Trump with Jeffrey Epstein at Mar-a-Lago, and what this shows is Trump giving Jeffrey Epstein this big check, and it says $22,500 on it. And it's for a woman, the woman who's in the picture, who they say is, quote, fully depreciated. And so this is supposed to be, I guess, a joke, maybe, of Trump paying Jeffrey Epstein to buy a woman from her, which I don't know, man. I don't think that's the funniest joke in the world, given that he is literally a human trafficker. So is it a joke? Is it not a joke? I don't know. I'm willing to entertain both sides of that conversation because that is bizarre. So the current sitting president is getting outed as giving a giant check for $22,500 to the most prolific child sex trafficker in the world. And he's smiling and he's giggling and he's laughing and they talk about how this woman's fully depreciated. What the fuck? All right, so we also have Midas Touch here did a breakdown of what's in the Epstein book, the contents of the Epstein book. So here, let's go through some of this stuff here. This is what we just discussed. The Trump check, and he's got his creepy little letter here. Very bizarre. As you all know, Trump's happy birthday letter from him was also incredibly, incredibly creepy. Alluded to weird things about never aging and saying we share a lot in common, don't we, Jeff? It looked like the drawing was of a girl, not a woman. Very disturbing. Here we have another girl who This is creepy. Before Jeffrey, I was 22 years old. I was a 22-year-old divorcee working as a hostess in a hotel restaurant. After Jeffrey, I now live in New York City, have traveled to Paris, London, Milan, Copenhagen, Tokyo, Hong Kong, Stockholm, blah, 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 goes on and on and on. I have met Prince Andrew, President Clinton, the Sultan of Brunei, Donald Trump, Antonio Vargas, Naomi Campbell, Stephanie Seymour, Peter Brandt, Kevin Spacey, Chris Tucker, blah, 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 goes on. I have flown on the Concorde, gone skydiving, taken flying lessons, blah, 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 that goes on. And then it shows, thank you to Jeffrey Epstein, and it's Jeffrey walking with his hand down the back of this woman's pants where he's either, fingering her asshole or attempting to get low enough to finger her asshole. Again, 50-year-old birthday book, very normal stuff to put in that, right? Here's the one that I was fucking floored by. I was floored by this one. So this one doesn't have a name, but it says, Dear Jeffrey, happy 50th, right? And he got these little drawings, including women. Then we get to this. Look, somebody actually drew this and put it in Jeffrey Epstein's birthday book. 1983. Here's Jeffrey giving balloons to little girls. Is this alluding to, like, this is what you used to do to fulfill your disgusting pedophile desires? Is you would go to little girls' birthday parties and, like, try to pick them up there? What is this alluding to? But then the picture next to it, so that says 1983, and then 2003, as you can see here, you have Jeffrey Epstein getting rubbed by prepubescent girls, and this fits the fucking pattern of how he abused these girls. He would have these 14, 15, 16-year-old girls in Palm Beach. He would basically coerce them into giving him massages, and there would be an array of different sexual things that he would do with them. Obviously, this is totally illegal, and this guy's drawing it, and so, in other words, it was commonly known. This is what Jeffrey does. Somebody's drawing this, and ha, hee, isn't this funny? For your 50th birthday, here's you getting jacked off from a fucking teenager. Like, what? What? They all knew. They all knew. And what this tells me is, not only did they all know, they're okay with it, and they're all in on it, meaning there's dirt on them too. And their perversions are known in this circle, right? So that's terrible. Let's keep going here. Two very young girls, probably just 17 plus, were riding in my father's caddy, Park Ave, top down, smooching it up in the car, drop dead laughing. This is what one of the notes said. What the fuck? Girls on my boat. We picked up girls on the beach, went out on a boat. I tell them with knife in my hand to take suits off. But Warren tells, don't worry, his name is JN. He's just joking. He live at so-and-so. I tell Mark to throw him in the water. He did. What does that mean? I don't know what any of that means. Well, as many people have pointed out, it sounds like a lot of this is them speaking in code. That's what it seems like. It's either overtly sexual and, like, very clear what they're talking about, or many instances they're speaking in code. Castaways Volume 1. I was porking some girl in bed, and Jeff brings in the maid to make bed. She left screaming and never came back. We're both in bed porking some girls. I said, what do you think? While he's shoving penicillin down my throat. Alluding to some creepy sexual thing that Epstein did with this guy who's sending him the letter. There's another one here. The Midas touch thing just says, what the fuck? Dearest Jeff, 50 years old. You really have had a pretty amazing life. Amazing because of where we were and when it started. Paula and Seymour fucking. Okay, so that's the one I already read this one to you. It goes on to say other overtly sexual things. Very bizarre. How about this one? Are you sure this will make my winky grow? Waiting for my foot massage. Here, let me show you the picture of this one. Are you sure this will make my winky grow? And it appears to be Epstein standing in, I don't know, is that a grocery store, a candy store or something? Oh my, never seen those pants before. Waiting for my foot massage. Okay, speaking in code, clearly. Here's one that the fact that this is actually in there is just out of this world. So there's a section labeled children. And then if you click this here, now they redacted the faces of the kids. But you can see there's at least one picture here with this, like, actual child, like, not even teenager child, in this, like, provocative pose holding her hip. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Then you have this one. People are talking about this one. Here, I'll show you the picture before I read it for you. So this is Jeffrey Epstein. We don't know who this person is. There's some speculation this is Trump. I don't think this is Trump. Trump's a lot taller than that. But here's Jeffrey Epstein. They're looking like they're, about to go rob somebody. The text says, finally at the home of our friend. Let's call him Mr. Brown. Jeffrey unveiled his plan. To some, it may have seemed a get-rich-quick scheme, but to me, it was pure genius. Rob and kill was the name of the plan. The first victim, redacted, to be attacked and brutally plundered. Would she want more than that? On the boardwalk in Venice Beach, broad daylight. The dastardly thieves were never caught. Postscript, I retired from the life, but I recently read an article in New York which led me to believe that my old friend, Mr. E, had continued on and become an industry leader. What? Again, speaking in code, talking about some criminal past, talking about some crime that they committed, or like, I don't know, man. I don't know. You got Alan Dershowitz had said he wasn't really close with Jeffrey Epstein. Wrong. There was a picture in there. There was a letter and a picture in there where he jokes about changing the article of Vanity Fair to take out at Jeffrey Epstein's name and put it in Bill Clinton's name or something. We have photos of animals having sex along with photos of their genitalia. I don't know why this is in there, but that's exactly what it is. I don't know if YouTube will knock me for this, but there you have it. There's this one too. People are talking about, who is that bum over there? Why is it? It's Jeffrey, I declare, the man of means in sweatshirt and jeans at a black tie formal affair. To add to life's piquancy, Jeffrey, with increasing frequency, on any occasion, with little persuasion, will outrage the public decency. Huh? I have heard that Jeffrey will act with morals, decorum, and tact, with honor, goodwill, and truth, but forsooth, this information may be inexact. As far as I can detect, Jeffrey seems to select to express his mood terms rude, crude, and lewd, and politically incorrect. Jeffrey, at half a century, with credentials plenipotentiary, though up to no good whenever he could, has avoided the penitentiary. So again, that's like, you're a sex criminal. We know you're a sex criminal. We're cool with it. You're our dog. That's the vibe I get there. And it just goes on, man. And it just goes on. Dear Jeffrey, I wanted to give you what you want, so here it is, and it's a picture of tits. How about this one? This one is super coded. Leaving you with some interesting friends to entertain instead, and it's, I don't know who that is, but he's with some woman in her underwear, seemingly. Or in one of his glorious homes he likes to share with his friends, and then in parentheses, yum yum. And it's, I think, the picture of Epstein's pedophile island. This, like, that's it, bro. That's it. Trump should have to fucking resign, and Trump should be fucking behind bars. And everybody who's in this fucking book should be behind bars. Clearly, all these motherfuckers knew exactly what Jeffrey Epstein was doing. They were totally fine with it. And there's dirt on them because they were fucking clients of Jeffrey Epstein. So here's another one, a picture of an ass that, if I'm being honest, looks like the ass of a younger person right here. We don't need, you guys can go watch. Here's another one with like that girl looks kind of youngish, if I'm being honest. And you see, the side of her ass, but she's wearing underwear, but you see the side of her ass. Very weird. A post named Booby. This one, again, another code. Ready? A, quote, shopping trip with your, quote, old, and I am, friend. So the shopping trip is in quotations. That probably means, like, we said it was a shopping trip, but then we did stuff with underage girls. Remember that? So absolutely disturbing, man. This is worse than anybody could have imagined. Between the picture of Trump holding the big check to buy a girl from the world's most prolific pedophile human trafficker, between that and the picture of this one here of Jeffrey Epstein getting his fucking massages from underage girls, to me, we're done here. Wrap it up. Lock them all up. All right, now I also have, before I end this pre-segment here for you, before our main show, let me just also show you this, because this was big breaking news that just dropped. Trump gave Netanyahu approval to bomb Palestinian negotiators in Qatar. So now Israel is attacking Gaza, the West Bank, Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, Tunisia, which they just did. They attacked the next flotillas that were going to go and try to deliver aid to Palestinians. They attacked them in the port of Tunisia, and Qatar. Qatar's a U.S. ally. Qatar has a U.S. base there. Qatar tried to bribe Trump and give him a fucking massively expensive Air Force One plane. And Trump just greenlit, illegally, Israel to attack Hamas negotiators, so the political arm of Hamas, not the military arm of Hamas, gave them the green light to attack them in Qatar, in Doha, the capital. So first, let me show you the picture. This is what it looks like here. This was the attack. This is a huge deal. This is a huge, huge escalation. Israel views themselves as completely and utterly above the law in every imaginable way. So Yashar Ali points out, the Qatari government has released a statement in response to the Israeli strikes in Doha on Hamas leaders. The state of Qatar strongly condemns in the harshest terms the cowardly Israeli attack that targeted residential compounds housing several members of the political bureau of Hamas in the Qatari capital, Doha. This criminal assault constitutes a blatant violation of all international laws and norms and poses a serious threat to the security and safety of Qatari citizens and residents in Qatar. The ministry affirms that security authorities, civil defense, and the relevant agencies immediately began handling the incident and taking the necessary measures to contain its consequences and ensure the safety of residents and surrounding areas. While the state of Qatar strongly denounces this aggression, it also emphasizes that it will not tolerate such reckless Israeli behavior and that continued tampering with regional security nor any action targeting its security and sovereignty. It further notes that the investigations are underway at the highest level, and additional details will be announced as soon as they become available. So again, massive escalation. Get this, ready? Mohammed Shahada lays out the following. The U.S. and Israel are the ones who asked Qatar to host Hamas's political, not military leadership to maintain indirect dialogue with them. When Qatar asked Hamas leadership to leave in November 2024 and suspended their office in Doha, Trump asked them to reopen it again and rehost Hamas. Netanyahu just broke this arrangement and bombed Doha to target Hamas negotiators in the midst of their discussion of Trump's latest ceasefire proposal. So Trump released a ceasefire proposal, but it was super light on details. And people were like, well, why the fuck is that? That's kind of weird. So they meet to talk about those details. Boom, they get murdered. Now, one is definitely dead. There's one other who they say is not dead. But imagine that. The same thing that they did. And this is why you can't trust the Americans and you can't trust the Israelis. You literally just can't. This is the exact same thing that they did to General Soleimani, the top Iranian commander who was fighting ISIS. They lured him with fake claims of diplomacy, and then they murdered him. And so now, again, what Trump never understands the long-term consequences of his actions, nor does he give a fuck. But basically, what this means is, now, anytime anybody America asks anybody, hey, let's talk, hey, let's have a negotiation, hey, let's figure this out, they're not going to want to meet, number one. Number two, they're never going to fucking trust us. You're giving your seal of approval that everything's going to be okay. We're going to have this negotiation. We're going to try to work it out. And then you fucking murder the people. What that said, that the message that sends to the world is we are psychopathic, sociopathic warmongers. We don't care about peace. And if you end up getting murdered, when you're there under our protection, we don't give a fuck. We're happy with that. So just absolutely destroying the United States and Israel on the world stage. And then we have validation here. So breaking Israeli strike on Qatar reportedly done in coordination with the Trump administration, who proposed a ceasefire offer to Hamas to review in order to gather several officials in one location. So now do you see, like, this is the world's most obvious genocide of all time. The entire time the Israelis were not negotiating in good faith. The entire time the Americans were not negotiating in good faith. The entire time it's delay tactics, stall, to allow the IDF to do their mass pulverization and annihilation campaign of Gaza. So it's do the genocide, complete the ethnic cleansing, build fucking hotels and casinos, and make Gaza the Riviera of the Middle East with big golden statues to fucking Donald Trump. That's what they want to do. They're not kidding. They're not joking. They're dead serious. And this further validates that point. So there are your updates. As I always say, we live in fucking hell. Stay tuned in because we got a full show coming in just a little bit. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.